Hey y'all, it's your girl Insomniac writer, aka R.S. Lewis, and today I am reviewing the pilot for HBO Max's The Last of Us. I don't know if you saw it, but I saw it and I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I know it got some flack after the trailer drop, and I didn't do a teaser reaction because I said, you know what? I lost so much fucking faith in video game adaptations that I just said, you know what? I'm gonna just watch it, and if I like it, I'll review it. If not, I'm not even gonna talk about it. So, without further ado, let's review The Last of Us. Okay, Last of Us is based off of the PlayStation game of the same name. Now, if you're not a gamer, if you've never played this particular game, don't worry, you're not going to be lost. It's not going to throw you in a mix as if you don't know what happens. It literally begins the same way the first game begins, right before before the outbreak and everything. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Pedro Pascal, yeah, is playing our lead character Joel. Joel is Joel. um, Ellie is played by Bella Ramsey. She was on Game of Thrones. She played the little, girl that was tough, badass on that show. Gabriel Luna, he's such a adorable person. Singer, actor. He played the latest in the last Terminator movie, which a lot of people hated, but I liked him. He's badass. And one thing I can say about the Terminator films, I don't care what you say about the plot, I don't care what you say about the movies. The one that's always sent back in time to fuck shit up just gets worse, and not worse as in bad, but worse as in harder to kill. And he was just damn, like he was just indestructible. Anyway, Tess is played by actress Anna Torv, and Nico excuse me, Nico Parker. Believe it or not, she plays Joel's daughter. Like my daughter's like, do you know who mom that is? Whose daughter that is? I was like, I don't know, but she looks like Thandie Newton. So if that's not her daughter, I don't know what to say. And she was like, that's her daughter. I was like, holy shit. I thought my child was a clone of me, but that woman cloned her. Anyway, enough of that. Back to this. Last of Us. It is a good, well put together series. I enjoyed it. A lot of people was giving it flack because they'd be like, oh, the girl that's playing Ellie doesn't look like her. Oh, the guy that's playing Joel doesn't look like him. You know, people get hung up on what people look like, and they're like, why can't they get the voice actor? And the voice actor doesn't look like the character, and it happens. So people get over it. Okay? Pedro Pascal is an excellent actor. I think he was the best part in Wonder Woman 1984. But that's my opinion. I mean, it had its things, but anyway, back to this. Joel and Ellie, they're put together, and he's basically got to take her safe and sound to the firefighters. It's like this group of, I don't want to say terrorists, but that's what everybody call them. They're not terrorists. They're just fighting the powers that be, which is the government. I guess, revolutionaries, if that's what you want to call them. But anyway, the point is that this is a video game adaptation worthy of watching. Why? Because if you watch that bullshit on Netflix that was supposed to be an adaptation of Resident Evil, I don't know what the fuck that was. You had a bunch of great ass actors in a shitty ass show, and I was just like, but back to this. So anyway, now in this particular film, even though they're both apocalyptic dystopia type films, what makes Last of Us different is that this particular film, they're controlled by a fungus, um that just takes over their everything, takes over from the inside, controls them, basically turns them into mindless undead puppet type things. It's a thing. The guy in the beginning, the dude that would play Alistair from Supernatural, Cameron, big old tall guy, and the other guy from was it The Mummy, the one that played the brother, he was basically saying what would happen if global warming caused fungus to mutate and adapt to have to find different hosts, because naturally they can't survive in hotter climates on their own. So there's like, he was talking about like, basically he compared it to this type of fungus that takes over ants. And when it does, it causes them to just go berserk and go attach itself to a tree, and it feeds off of them, and they can't do anything. It takes over their brain, their body, everything. It's a parasitic fungus that takes over the body. And basically now in this future, the film takes place in 2023. No, I mean, sorry, the series takes place in 2023. It begins 20 years prior. But in this particular case, the fungus is attaching to us. And even though we have like a high body temperature that fungus wouldn't be able to, survive in, what if the planet got hotter? Which is a topic now, global warming. Like, oh my God, the planet's getting hotter. What the fuck? This post-apocalyptic landscape that we have, we got these zombies now, and we don't really see too many undead in the first episode. Like, you see them like in the beginning when the outbreak happens, just like in a video game. Joel is trying to get his daughter, who's not Ellie, by the way. He's trying to get his daughter, and him and his brother trying to get the daughter, and they trying to get out of town before this shit gets any worse, because it jumps off the fan immediately. Now, I would assume an outbreak of this magnitude wouldn't happen this fast, because it was like that day Ellie went to the daughter went to school, and then she comes home, and boom, by that night shit just dumped off. Now they do slightly change it where she goes to the neighbors and she sees the neighbors. You kind of get introduced to them. It's an elderly couple, and I think it's a sister or a brother, I don't know. It's three elderly people, and one is like in a wheelchair, can't talk, can't hear, can't, basically cannot take care of herself, and she gets infected and kills the other one. And she was in a wheelchair, but when she got infected, she was moving around. So basically, like most of these type of outbreaks, like we've seen with the pandemic, they usually hit big, overly populated cities first and hardest because there's more people. And I love shot. There's a lot of scenes, even though some things are slightly different, there are a lot of things shot for shot. Like as you see them driving the truck, all right, well, how are we going to get on Interstate 7, I think 71, or we're not? And I like it because in the game, you get to play as the daughter for just a brief little bit, and then you play as Joel, and you got to take over. Of course, Tommy, the brother, got to keep him safe, because when they crash, it's like he got to carry his daughter because they crash and she hurt her ankle and whatever. Now, like I said, you can watch the gameplay or you can play the game, and they did remake the first one, and I think they may have another one coming out. But the point is that I'm getting a PlayStation and I'm gonna play this game again because I haven't played the remake, obviously, and I would love to. A lot of games on PlayStation that I want to play. Don't get me wrong, I was a Halo girl, which is what led me to get Xbox, and then I love the Xbox fitness thing. But when Bill Gates stepped down and stopped having creative control of the video game sector of Microsoft, things kind of went to shit. And what's ironic, not to get off topic, he's like becoming like Wesker from, like, I don't want to say Wesker, but one of the like characters in the background of Resident Evil, where they're trying to prevent, maybe he's trying to prevent with his good intentions from shit like this from happening, but it's usually the people that are trying to prevent shit like this from happening that actually cause shit like this to happen. So Mr. Gates, please go back and make Xbox great again. Please stop trying to take over the world and save the world. But that's my rant for the day. Anyway, back to this. Again, it's got a 99% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm hoping that holds strong, because it is a really, really good show. Now, it's going to air weekly. I believe that every Sunday they're going to do a new episode, kind of like the way they did Game of Thrones and their other, shows on HBO, which I particularly like. I grew up with that. I don't want to binge the whole thing in one day. The people that did the Chernobyl series, which was good, like you could tell, they paid attention to detail, to the video game, to the plot, to the actors, to the way they look, like even down to the t-shirt that what's the name's daughter has. And unfortunately, I'm not going to give y'all no spoilers. I'm not going to tell y'all anything outside of what I've already told you, that this apocalypse happens and why it particularly happens. What I'm starting to like about these types of things, it's not like Resident Evil where there's some virus that they created in a lab and it got out. It potentially takes into place the science. So shit like this, you think about, like, could this really happen? Like, could parasitic fungus take over the world? Like, really? And if you don't think that this is a possibility, watch The Girl or read the book The Girl with All the Gifts. Is actually on. Now that was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is, but that is good, and it's pretty much the same exact plot, because we see that there are some children. Now, this outbreak happened 20 years ago, but apparently there are children, including Ellie, that were born after the outbreak who seem to be positive for this parasitic fungus virus or whatever it might be, but they're not displaying symptoms. So now, in The Girl with All the Gifts, the kids that have it, just like these kids, they have their faculties. They, they could talk, they could communicate. They're not raging zombies or whatever you want to call them. They are very, they're articulate to some extent. Like, they can talk. Their body has found a way to manage and control this virus or parasite. Their mothers were infected with the parasitic fungus, and they were pregnant at the time, and then we had all these kids. The only difference is that these kids really can't survive off of regular food, like regular non-infected humans, but they've mutated and adapted beyond that. Pretty much they're the future, and at some point humanity is just gonna have to learn that it is what it is. But we'll see. I'm not gonna tell y'all anything about like the game, but there are a lot of shots, just like when they're driving past the farm that's on fire, a lot of different scenes. Pay very close attention to detail to this to this particular game, and I love that. They're not just trying to do homages to the game and cherry pick things like, like what where the Resident Evil films and adaptations fell. They're like, okay, we got the names of the characters, we got the monsters, the level bosses, like the liquor and the nemesis and all this other stuff. Yeah, y'all paid attention to detail to the way these things look, and that's great. But you gave fuck all about the damn plot. Like, what the fuck is this plot? What the fuck am I watching? And even if they do follow the plot, they make these changes that are unnecessary and make no sense. Like, why? I have my predictions for the show. Obviously, it's going to follow a game that's already existed, so you really don't need my predictions. I think they are going to stray a little bit far from the series, the source material, and I think they're going to do it in a way that works like it did for the first couple of seasons of Walking Dead. Sometimes what what you see visually in a book, or in this case a video game, can't be done in real life, even with the technology. Sometimes video game jargon talk, the voice acting, even though it may be good, sometimes it's a little dramatic. I enjoyed it. Pedro Pascal is just like fucking dope. Yeah. And Gabriel Luna, I'm looking forward to see more of him. I'm definitely happy, and I'm looking at a lot of the cast here on IMDb. Nick Offerman, Storm Reed, I think that's her name. She's been in like so much stuff so far. She has a movie that's missing. I think that's out now. Marlene is played by Merle Dandridge. So there are a lot of famous, familiar faces. John Hannah, that was the guy from The Mummy. I knew I was going to remember that name, or I was going to find it on here. But again, a lot of people on here that you recognize. Melanie Linsky is Kathleen. I'm curious to see her because she plays funny people. Retina Wesley. Oh my God, she's going to be in here. Oh my God. I'm fucking excited. Like, I didn't really get hype about it until I saw the pilot. But anyway, enough about that. Have you watched the pilot to The Last of Us? What did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave your comments below, because where else are you going to leave them? And if you like this video, make sure you subscribe, hit the button, that like button, that thumbs up button. Turn your post notifications on, because yes, I do want to post more content. I'm going to be posting on here probably twice a month, because I do have the podcast coming up. So stay tuned for that. Right now, I got a lot going on with my fitness stuff, and I will try to get some dance videos up here. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for tuning in so much, so much. I miss you. I love you. I appreciate your patronage. Check out those links below, my merch store, all that good stuff. You already know. Anyway, I'm your girl, R.S. Lewis, a.k.a. Insomniac Writer, and this is an Insomniac review. I'll catch you on the flip flap.